Gary Williams here. Some friends of mine are making a difference in the community, and one of the ways they're doing that is helping to sponsor this podcast. Petroselli Homes Realty Group is a boutique brokerage service located in downtown Niles. They offer a personal and intentional touch to the home buying and selling market. They take the time to learn each client's story, much like this podcast, because to them, the first step in linking buyers to the home of their dreams starts with understanding and a great deal of trust. John and Jennifer Petroselli have had the honor of helping countless buyers and sellers make effective real estate decisions to plant their roots, raise their families, expand their wealth, or simply relax and retire. So if what I've described is what you might be looking for in a realtor, I suggest getting in touch with Petroselli Homes on Niles Boulevard in downtown Niles. Now, coming to you straight from Fremont, California, this is the Fremont Podcast, dedicated to telling the stories of the past and present of the people and places of the city of Fremont, one conversation at a time. Now, here's your host, Ricky B.
Hello, Fremont. You're listening to episode number 16 of the Fremont Podcast. I just want to say a personal shout out again to our official sponsors, Petroselli Homes. If you are interested in buying or selling a home in the Bay Area, or if you're just interested in real estate, then you will want to connect with Petroselli Homes. They are a valuable resource when it comes to real estate and housing, and you can learn a lot from them, even in the process of trying to decide what you are going to do in regarding to your housing needs. So Petroselli Homes, you'll want to connect with them on Instagram, Facebook, or through their website. It is said that 3 things that you don't talk about in public are politics, money, and religion. Well, we're going to kind of break that rule a little bit in the next few episodes of the Fremont Podcast, because religion is something that influences people to make decisions about the way they live their lives. If you are not part of that particular faith, and you may not understand why people do what they do or why the decisions that they make are important to them. So today, in this episode, I sit down with Dr. Rajabally, who is a regular teacher in the Islamic Society here in Fremont. And I talked to him about Ramadan. What is Ramadan? What does it mean to somebody who believes that particular faith? And even more broadly, we talk about the Islamic faith and how it influences the people of our community. And this is an important conversation for those of us who might not be a part of that particular community, but are interested in caring for and understanding our neighbor and our community. So listen to this conversation. I hope it'll be a help to you. I know that it proved to be helpful to me as we talked. So stay tuned to this conversation that I have with Dr. Mohamad Rajabally. I'm very grateful to have Dr. Mohamad Rajabally today on the Fremont Podcast. I found Dr. Rajabally through calling one of the local Fremont mosques, and I was given his name. And one of the reasons that I specifically wanted to have this conversation today is because Islam right now is recognizing this time as Ramadan. And I think because of the diversity in our community, and we have a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, including a lot of religious backgrounds, I felt like it would be very helpful for our community to hear about Ramadan, especially for those who do not practice Ramadan or who are not Muslims. So, Dr. Rajabally, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. Really appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. It is really my pleasure to be, and I'm very grateful and thankful that you take time out to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's my pleasure as well. So tell me a little bit, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself. I want to hear how you ended up in Fremont and what's your background.
All right. So basically, I'm a dentist, and I practice in Newark. My practice is in Newark. My wife is also a dentist, so we practice together. So my wife grew up in the U.S.
Okay.
She grew up out in San Francisco. When I married her, I came to to the U.S., and that's been almost 40 years.
Wow.
Okay. So when we finished our thing and we were trying to set up our practice, we were in Hayward, but we always liked the Bay Area. We didn't want to leave the Bay Area. And Fremont looks good. I like Fremont. I like it is in the center of everything. You can go to San Jose, you can go to San Francisco. I mean, it's in the center. It's not too bad. The freeways at that time was easy. Not necessarily now.
It's changed a bit.
Yeah.
It's changed. What has changed the most to you for you since you've been here in the area for about 40 years? What's changed the most for you in the city?
Well, I would say the density of the people, the ethnicity of the people, how it changed and how it was from the early 80s and to what it is now. You no longer have Arden Woods anymore. It's not a woods.
Yeah,
just
right.
Housing. Right.
Yeah.
So, and then I was introduced there was Mayor Gus Morrison at that time.
Okay.
And he appointed me as the commissioner
in the city
for the Human Relations Commission.
Wow!
And
what did that role look like? It
was wonderful because that's what we created, that openness, and we used to have a Unity Day kind of celebration where we'll invite all the diversities, all the ethnicities group. Have some programs, some talks, some music, some poems, some food, different kind of food. And we will do that sometime we did it in the high school, sometime we did it in the community centers.
Wow.
So we did a lot of good things. And then, of course, 9/11 came. I was still a commissioner, and that was
you were commissioner during the time of life.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine, I felt there was a lot of community awareness to be.
Sure.
And so it was a good time to be. We heard it a lot. We work on low housing. I was also a board member of the then Tri-City Homeless Coalition.
Wow.
Which is now Abode.
Yeah.
So we did a lot. We worked a lot, and we did a lot of things. And the main thing of the commission is you supervise the grants.
Okay.
The city of Fremont gave a lot of grants to nonprofit organizations. And you monitor and supervise and interview for those grants. It was a beautiful, beautiful time we had.
Okay. Wow. You've done a lot and you've spent a lot of time here. That's great. I actually want to go back. I didn't realize that
Sorry, I forgot one name.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
important is Judy Zlatnik. That was
she
is the one who introduced me to the mayor.
Oh.
So that's very important.
Yeah.
I need to mention that Judy Zlatnik, she was the one who introduced me.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. Well, I want to ask you kind of in line with our conversation today. So I remember 9/11, and I remember it being obviously a significant time for our country. And I think that for somebody who's not part of the Islamic faith, I think from an outsider perspective, that the terrorist attack and everything it could be very broad brushed. So and there could be fear, or there could be like uncertainty that would develop in somebody for someone who looking at somebody who is a Muslim or who is of the Islamic faith. Can you maybe explain to me a little bit about what it was like for you in that position and as a Muslim to go through that experience of 9/11?
Well, it was I think a wake up call for all of us in many, very, like you said, in many dimensions. And you felt what you were put on the spot. You were being generalized, right? And we always said what Islam represents. And people who go against that, they may have a Muslim name, they may come from an a Muslim country, but they are not Islamic. I make a difference between Islamic and Muslim. Okay?
Oh, okay. We'll explain that.
The difference is Islamic, you follow the teaching of Islam. Muslim is you are a cultural Muslim.
Okay.
Right? So there's a difference. So if you follow Islam, you cannot kill innocent people.
Interesting. Okay.
You cannot kill an innocent, you cannot take an innocent life. But then you allow political and economic and cultural things come in. So it was very difficult. But Fremont was amazing. The community in Fremont were amazing. Not only the city council, but also the many organizations that came to us. I remember there were threats at the mosque.
Wow.
We had to close the school, but I talked to the then police chief, Stecker, right? And he said, especially I was concerned with the morning prayers. And he told me, don't worry, Mohammed, I will send a car there, a patrol car. And that was true for many weeks or a month. There was a patrol car stationed there while we were praying in the morning.
Wow.
And so there were things like that. It was a very tense. But I remember the city council organized the city of Fremont organized a vigil at the Central Park. And I spoke in that, and they gave me plenty of time to speak, and it was well viewed, well received, the speech. I think it makes us feel comfortable also. It makes us come out of our shell.
Yeah.
That you have to come out. The Japanese committee came and talked to us and said, don't do the mistake that we did. You got to go out. You got to explain. Don't shell it. Don't cave in, There were so many churches that came to us, the Mormon church, like I said, the church on the Baptist church. Even in where the mosque is, there was the St. Paul church. Minister of Music at that time was the minister there. Very helpful. So we had a lot of support. Fremont was great. I don't know of any incident, violent incident in Fremont.
That's good.
No, I don't know.
Wow, that's good. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. I wasn't in Fremont at the time, and I do remember those events myself. But I think I would have really enjoyed seeing Fremont as a city rally around the community, or rally together as a community at that time. That's really great. So thanks for explaining that. I'm just interested in hearing from you. What you were telling me just a little bit ago before we started recording, but what is your role in the local mosque? Or like you are a dentist, but you also teach. So tell me a little bit about the dynamic that you have in the local mosque.
So, yeah, I'm a dentist, and if I go back to that, I have to tell you, I grew up in the young man in the 60s. Does that mean something to you? So I grew up in the 60s, and we were wild.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
it was 60, let me see, it was the Vietnam War. It was all kind of things going on, the civil rights movement. It was Mandela in South Africa. That's where I grew up. I grew up near that area.
Okay.
I grew up in a small island near South Africa called the island of Mauritius.
Okay.
So I was not religious. Okay, but I travel a lot, and I started looking at religion. I started looking at God, right? Who is God? What is God? Why there is a God? I starting those questions, and I started reading, and I studied all religions, and I studied all traditions.
Wow.
And I met a man, a doctor. His name is Maurice Bucaille, Dr. Maurice Bucaille. He wrote a book called Bible, the Quran, and Science.
Okay.
That was the bestseller of the 70s, right? And I met him, I had the chance of meeting him, talk about the book and so on. I chose Islam as my religion, okay?
How old were you at that time?
Oh, I was already a doctor.
Okay.
I was not graduated. Maybe I was 1 year or 2 years before my graduation, my mid-studies.
Okay.
Then I became, and when I chose Islam, I started learning and practicing. And I realized in the U.S., we didn't have like it is now. So I got involved in the mosque, in the centers, and I started teaching Islam. So I became like what you call a lay clergy.
Okay.
Because there is no priesthood in Islam. You don't have to go to a seminary. You could, but you don't have to. You don't have to be appointed or whatever. What the term is? The term is
ordained.
Ordained.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You don't have to be ordained, right? So I'm a lay clergy. I give sermons regularly on Friday.
What are some of the qualities that they're looking for in a lay person?
Islam says, as long as our community recognize you as somebody who practices the tenets of Islam, lives by it, not just preach it. And you can read the book, you can understand the book, and you live by it. If they are okay, they can appoint you. And so that's what the thing. I am they call that word, they call a khatib. That's what they call the person who gives the sermon.
Okay.
It's a khatib. So I am a khatib for the Bay Area. I go to Santa Clara, I go to San Jose, I go to San Ramon, Fremont, Newark. So I'm a khatib, Concord. I'm all the areas I go and wherever that is. So that's what you call a lay clergy. You know, I perform funerals.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
If there's nobody, I perform weddings.
Okay.
No, so I do all those activities within the law of the state. Of course, very important to say that within the law of the states, I never cross that line.
Yeah. Right.
And so that is very important. But yes, that's who I am.
So you serve by teaching and giving sermons in other areas of the Bay, but then here. In Fremont, you're specifically...
Well, I was the president of what you call the Islamic Society of East Bay.
Okay.
I was the president.
Okay.
And my tenure ended some 10 years, 15 years ago. Yeah, but
I'm just trying to understand this for myself. So what is the Islamic Society versus is there a specific name that you would give to the people that gather at a mosque, or is that also considered the Islamic Society?
Yeah, it's the Islamic Community and Society. Anybody who comes, the mosque is open and you can come and pray there and join the prayer. The prayers, we pray 5 times a day, so there are fixed hours of the day for the prayer. So anybody can come and join. On top of that, if you want to be a membership, you can apply for a membership.
Okay. Yeah.
But you don't have to be a member to pray there. You could pray there even if you are not a member.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm going to go back real quick to something that you said when you were talking about the events following 9/11, and you were saying that the Fremont community, a lot of people came around, different ministers from other, say, Christian churches or from the Mormon faith, or they all came around. What is someone who follows Islam, what is it that, how do you view your connection or your relationship to other people from other religions? How do you view them, and what is your understanding personally of the people who might not necessarily follow Islam?
Absolutely. And there is a verse in the Quran that says, we have created you, right, in different communities, but you are one. Right? You have to get along together. The Arabic word lita'arafu means you know each other, you understand each other. So that is understanding. In the Quran, God talks about, we are made with different color of the skin, different language. So that ethnicity, that diversity is very, very strong in the Quran. But we have to get along together. We have to respect each other's tradition. Whether you believe in it or not believe in it, you have to respect it so that they respect you.
Right, yeah.
All right? So as a Muslim now, the door is open. I mean, we're not, in Islam, we don't proselytize, we don't convert people. No, we don't do that. We explain the religion. We believe that it is God that has given each individual the right to choose how he or she would choose to communicate with him, the Creator. That's what we think. How you find that way, that's up to you. Like I said, I went through my way and I came to Islam. I studied Christianity. I studied a lot of religion before I decide that Islam is my religion. Okay, so the same thing we believe. So it was nice to see that they came and we talk, and we talk about the people of the book. The Quran especially addresses the people of the book. So we do have some similarities. The people of the book are the Jews, the Christians. We believe in the same prophets of Abraham, of Jacob, the house of Jacobs, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon the name. You will see me say that again. In Islam, when you mention a prophet, any prophet, you say peace be upon him, as a respect to them, because we respect them. So we have, as a Muslim, I have to believe in the Torah. I have to believe in the Injil, right? What I do not believe is that they do not exist in their original form, but I have to believe that there were books given to those people of their time by God, right? And that I have to accept and to know. So absolutely, the door is open. The door is open for dialogue. The door is open for respect and dialogue. And not only that, but even to work together on projects that you may, without interfering, without stepping on each other's toes and interfering into principle of their faith. But you can work together. There's a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really helpful. I mean, as I'm hearing you explain this, I find it really helpful for me personally, just because although I have friends who are of Islam, and I have people that I know of that that is their faith, I think that there's still a misunderstanding and kind of a lack of awareness of what the tenets or what the most important aspects of of Islam are, because I think that it can be a little confusing and a little disturbing, I think, for somebody who would see something like the events of 9/11 or see other things that would happen around the world. And like you said, or you made, I can't remember exactly what words you used to describe it, but it's just a broad description, and that creates a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of unnecessary fear. So, absolutely. Well, I told you this story just before we got started, but I felt really stupid earlier last week, because my family and I enjoy almost every Sunday we go to Pakwan, the Pakistani Indian restaurant over in Irvington. And I think 2 weeks ago, I went in there and I placed my order ahead of time, and I ended up waiting an hour, and the place was packed, and finally got our food, and always enjoy that. But then I think it was last Sunday or the Sunday before, I went in there and it was practically empty. Same time, same day of the week, but it was practically empty. And and we go in there often, so the people who work there know me, and I just made the joke to them. I was like, "Wow, what happened to your business? Everything's empty and no one's here, and I didn't have to wait at all for the food." And as you know, it wasn't much longer after the words came out of my mouth that I realized it was right at the beginning of Ramadan. And so I kind of foolishly and stupidly made that joke, and they treated me very kindly and nicely, and the food was great. But it was funny for me that I realized that I just put my foot in my mouth. Yeah, it does. Yeah, so we're at the time of the year when Islam is observing Ramadan. Can you tell me what is Ramadan, and how important is Ramadan? What exactly is it, and how important is it to the Islamic faith?
Absolutely. Technically speaking, Ramadan is one of the lunar month. It's the 9th lunar month in the lunar calendar. It's the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. Technically speaking, the word Ramadan will mean it has to do with fasting.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Which means that the word in Arabic fasting is Sawm. Sawm in Arabic means you abstain from something.
Okay.
Okay. So technically speaking, in Ramadan you abstain from food, from drink, and also from relationship with your spouse during the fasting time.
Okay.
So technically, that's what it means.
Okay.
Now, how important it is very important. It is one of the pillars of Islam. That means there are 5 things you do to become a Muslim. Right?
Yeah, tell me those.
You say the declaration of faith, which is, I declare there is only one God. I declare Muhammad is the messenger of God. That's number 1. Mm-hmm. Then you pray 5 times. Then you give the Ramadan is one of them. Then the giving of the poor due is then, and then the 5th one is, if you can afford, you take a trip to Mecca.
Okay.
So as you can see, Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. That means if I don't do Ramadan, if I don't practice Ramadan, if I don't believe in Ramadan, I'm not a Muslim.
I got you. So it is a very important.
It's very important. It's a pillar, right?
Yeah.
So it starts with the month. As soon as you sight the moon, for that month, either by calculation or by visual eye sighting, you start fasting. And the calendar, as you know, a lunar month, it's either 29 or 30 days.
Okay.
So you will either fast 29 or 30 days, and then you break the fast. So in that thing, you stop eating, you stop drinking, eating, just before the sun rises.
Okay.
Which is around, I believe, 5:24 or something like that now.
Okay.
AM. And then you won't drink, you won't do anything until right after sunset, which is around 6:40, I believe, in our area.
Okay.
So it varies from area you are.
Right.
Because it depends. So from that time to that time, you don't. You don't. It's forbidden to you to drink. So what is the essence of it?
Yeah. What is the?
It makes you a strong person.
Okay.
The goal of it is that you have to choose. You have to have the control to choose that only God tell you what you can eat, what you can do, what you can't do. And you need to obey that. So amidst plenty, you've got to identify that is not allowed for you. All right?
Yeah.
And you choose that. And that's Ramadan.
Yeah.
So something like water is I'm not talking about vodka or gin here. I'm talking about water.
Right. Water.
Water is lawful to me to drink anytime. But because God says don't do that from here to here, I don't.
Okay.
So you can see how it sharpens the will. It sharpens the will.
Yeah.
It's basically a boot camp. Right?
Wow.
It's going on your
And
boot camp.
And it is once a year.
That's why it's every year. So it is a boot camp. And on top of that, the spirituality is amazing because you spend night meditating, right? Especially the last 10 nights. We spent meditating. We believe in our tradition, the Quran came to Muhammad, peace be upon him, in that month, in the month of Ramadan.
Okay.
So he received the Quran, right?
Okay.
And the Quran will be given to him piecemeal over a period of 33 years. But it started in that month. Also in that month, we believe there is a night that is very important that we spend, like I said, the last 10 nights we spend in meditation. Sometimes we don't sleep. And sometimes we seclude ourselves and we go in seclusion, like a retreat. So it is very spiritual. And COVID has reduced that, but usually it's a very social month too.
Yeah.
There is a lot of interfacing with people, whether with Islam or outside Islam. That's why we started when I was in the masjid. We introduced what we call the iftar. And we invited the community. We would invite the community. Everybody in the mosque is told, invite your friend, invite them, but register so that we know how many. And on the courtyard, we'll put nice table and everything, and people will come and share bread with us. So there is a lot of social interaction too with Ramadan.
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say, I think that one of the things that I appreciate about, and I don't want to just assume or make my statement synonymous. In other words, I know quite a few people from Middle Eastern countries, and I think of primarily that being a place where there's a lot of people who follow Islam. But I feel like whenever I'm around a family from the Middle East, they love to eat and they love to serve food, and they're very hospitable.
Absolutely.
Is there a point in place where eating, feasting, celebrating comes into play around Ramadan or after Ramadan, or what does that look like?
Before I answer that, I just want to clarify a thing from what you said.
Yeah.
The Middle East, you are right, represent the Arab and Muslim, but they don't represent the majority of Muslims.
Okay.
There are more Muslims in India than in Arabia. Just to get that out.
No, that's helpful. That's very helpful.
There are more Muslims in India, and we pray for those Muslims now. As you know, there is an ethnic boiling of thing going on in India where they could suffer the same thing as the Uyghurs did in China and Burma.
Yeah.
So we pray, we hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, but the same kind of trend is happening with the Prime Minister, with this present Prime Minister of India. So to answer your question now about, absolutely, Ramadan is sharing of food, all right? Whatever you can. But I know you are right. We indulge in luxuries, but it doesn't necessarily have to indulge in luxuries. But we are encouraged to share food, so much so that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, if you help somebody, if you share your food with somebody who is fasting, you get the reward of his fast on top of yours.
Okay.
So there is a lot of sharing of food. But like I said, 2 years of COVID kind of that. But you see the rebounds in the community now.
Right.
And then also there is some, the idea of for the end of Ramadan, there is a special thing we give, a special charity we give that help people to celebrate it. And also the zakat. Although the zakat is not mandatory to be given in Ramadan, but most people use Ramadan to give their zakat.
Okay.
The zakat is the puju, is the puju that you have to give to the poor on your excess money that you have.
I see.
It is 2.5% of that money.
Okay.
You distribute it to those who are not, the have-nots who are not have been, in having a hard time.
Yeah.
You distribute that.
Okay. That's really, really helpful. So as we kind of think about Islam and we think about Ramadan, can you tell me just a little bit about how you, and I'm actually honored to have this conversation with you because I didn't realize that your involvement already in the community, like the years that you have served our community. And I think that's remarkable.
Thank you.
From the perspective of Islam, and as we try to, maybe as outsiders of the Islamic faith, as we try to understand how to engage and interact and how to actually just make our community a better community, what are some of the things that you would see that is important to recognize that the Islam community is bringing to our community to make it better? Because I think in some ways we're always a little bit apprehensive to engage with somebody who may be of a different, even different ethnicity, a different language, and especially I think religion can get a little scary as well. So what are some of the ways in which we can engage or that we can look at the Islamic community and say they are making a difference in the community to make things better?
Absolutely. And I think that varies. I'm speaking in Fremont, but it varies around the country, U.S. coast to coast. One of the things we have done is, for example, the Ramadan open house. I just mentioned that. That was huge. You invite your neighbors, you invite your community, you share a meal together, they get to a tour of the masjid, they speak, they can ask any question, they get a very brief lecture, and then open to questions.
Okay.
So that was one. The second one is also we have throughout the year, you can visit, I said that already, you can visit the mosque, you can schedule. I just did one for a group.
Okay.
So you can schedule that, call the thing and schedule a tour, and they will give you a tour. I think the good example also in Fremont is we were blessed in Fremont to have that. Now I think it is not unique, but for many years it was unique, where on one side you have a church and a masjid. Like they are married.
In the same building?
So I invite you, if I'm not seen, go in the, no, not in the same building.
Not the same building.
No, but it's called Peace Terrace. So you can go and visit the Peace Terrace off Lowry in Fremont, Lowry, where Lowry meets with Alvarado.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an example where you have a church and a masjid and a mosque working together, and we've been there since the 80s, right? Take care of everything. Each one remain independent, but there are things where they join. Like, for example, I'll give you the parking.
Okay.
The parking is shared. So on Sundays, the church has priority, and on Friday, the mosque has priority.
Okay.
This is harmony.
Yeah.
This is what we try.
Yeah.
This is what. When I was president, I remember a student from Harvard used to come because at that time it was unique.
Yeah,
so I don't know now if you have other places. You may have other places, but for that time it was unique. So absolutely, we are open, and we participate. I initiated the distribution of food to the homeless. It's still going strong.
Wow. Where
we prepare food, we go to the shelter and we feed them, right? And they like our food. Some found them a little bit spicy, but they like the food. So we've been doing that for years. So there are many things that we do. There are many things. During election time, we have a vote registration. We regularly have the Red Cross coming for blood donation. So there are many things that we do to encourage this dynamics. You live in a community, you belong to a community, and you work for that community. That is mandatory. That is really important.
That's really great. So, as we wrap things up here, thank you for explaining all of that and helping me understand it, and hopefully help listeners to understand it. What is a vision that you have for our community? What if you look out at the community as a people, not necessarily as a municipality or a city or whatever, but just as a people, as a community? What are some of the things that you would love to see happen within our community to help make it a better place?
Well, I would like to see, I'm not a politician, so I don't run for politics, but I would like to see the city grow together in harmony without any ethnic, it doesn't matter which ethnicity. I would not want that. I would like to see that there is more, we take care of our homeless population. Right, and we need to take care of them. We need to find a decent. This is the most advanced country in the world,
right?
And it's sad to see that. It's sad to see. So we need to take care of those people, find them decent housing, find them some whatever welfare need to be given. That's how I would like to see Fremont has. And traffic is congested. There's no question about it.
Right.
Now I don't know. That's up to the planning commission, City of Commission, Planning Commission will have to see what to do. But these are basically that I like to see people. I see more ethnicities getting involved, and I'll have that's you want it to be a society, like you said, not only Fremont, that is respected,
right? That
everybody is respected, that nobody feel that they are at danger. Right, Black Lives Matters, for example. All these are very important things that we support and we grow into as people, and we tolerate each other. You would like to see, some regulations around the use of gunfire. To address police brutality, not necessarily to get rid of police. I can't see a city without police. I can't see that.
Right. Yeah.
That would be chaos.
That would be chaos.
But maybe we can educate. We can talk, and we used to do that in my time. We used to have cultural sensitivity training for the police force. Okay, so I'm sure these things are done. So these are the things that you would like to see. Right. All right, because it's a beautiful city.
Right,
it is beautiful. It's amazing.
Really, and I think one of the most beautiful things is the people and the diversity. I think it's just a beautiful part. Absolutely. So, thank you for sharing your heart, sharing some of this information that's helpful. I'm speaking ignorantly here again. How much longer is Ramadan?
All right. Today is the 11th day.
Okay.
So we will end at the end of April.
Okay.
And we will have this. We will have this that will complete the month.
Okay.
In May we will have. Maybe I should say that Ramadan is the end of Ramadan is marked by a huge celebration.
Okay.
Called Eid.
Eid.
E-I-D. It's called Eid. So it's a huge celebration that you would say it's like Christmas for Christians.
Okay.
Because we end that. We give thanksgiving for God to have given us the time to live Ramadan. It's a family time. Kids love it. They have sweets, they have goodies, they have presents, and they have gifts. So it's a good thing. So that's how it ends. And you will see them, Elizabeth Park. But again, COVID disturbed all the things. So there were huge celebration in the COVID Park, at Tully, in the fairground. San Ramon in the fairground. I mean, Pleasanton, not San Ramon. Fairground.
Pleasanton, okay.
There were always so many, but I don't know if this year they will have or not.
Right.
What is the situation? Yeah. But it's a huge celebration. So we still have 20 days to go.
Okay.
20 days more to go.
Well, thank you for taking a little bit of the time during your fasting and during your day to spend with me and have this conversation.
My pleasure. And I think you're doing a wonderful job. And
thank
you should continue to do that for all the communities and bring them out, let people know.
Yeah.
Ignorance is the biggest key.
It is.
To that fear that we have, to that apprehension, the uneasiness we have. Once you know who that person is, you don't have to fear anything.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
I think it's I told people this before. We view things that we are unfamiliar with through a lens of those things that we've only experienced ourselves. And if we don't go out of our comfort zone to experience new things and to have new conversations, we're always going to view it through the lens of what our experience is. And so I do think it is important for us to engage in conversations with somebody who, there's obvious differences with that person, but we're only going to know better if we have those conversations and if we listen, not just talk, but if we listen. And I think that's really important for us. So.
Absolutely. You are right. And that is the universal prayer that we have of brotherhood and sisterhood, that you are different, but we live together in the same space. We share that space, we share that resources, and we cannot afford to be ignorant of each other. We will have no tolerance for each other if we are ignorant of each other, And so we need to have this common knowledge of this is humanity. This is humanity, and we serve humanity in whatever capacity we are, whatever ways we can. That's what being a servant of God is you serve the Creator by serving humanity.
Yeah. So if someone was listening to this, and I know you said you gave tours or there's open invitations to visit at different times, what is a way that somebody could get a hold of you or could kind of make an opportunity to learn more?
So you could contact me. You could contact the Islamic Society of East Bay. The person most likely to talk is Imam Siraj, is his name.
Okay.
He's full-time there.
Okay.
Or you could contact me directly on my email. And my email is M, as in Mary M, then Rajabally, my name, Rajabally,
okay,
at hotmail.com.
Okay.
But please let me know that you are from this podcast, otherwise I may not remember.
Right.
If I don't think, I may think. So let me know that you are responding as a result of this podcast.
Sure.
And if you need to arrange something, I can arrange that for you and do that for you.
Thank you. That is great. And I can include that email address in the show notes. And if you hear this and would like to get more information, then you can reach out. That'd be great.
Sure.
Doctor, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It is my pleasure as well. And I do hope this is something that our community can learn from and get to know a little bit more about the people that are living around them. So.
Thank you so much. I'm really touched by your flexibility of working and your intention to do that. May God bless you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Fremont Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever it is that you listen so you don't miss an episode. And if you're so inclined, leave a kind review so that others can find the podcast. To stay connected with us, you can find links to our social media and other content at thefremontpodcast.com. This episode was hosted, edited, and produced by Ricky B. Music provided through Soundstripe.com. I'm Gary Williams. Join us next week on the Fremont Podcast.
Muggins Media.